this out. JD Vance has no idea what these questions are, what the topics are. No idea. We didn't tell him beforehand. There's nobody in his ear, no cute earrings. There's nothing like that.
No.
So I'm just reminding everybody that this is all organic, okay?
I left my Bluetooth earrings at home, so.
Sorry.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Shout out to everybody watching. Drop your comments down below if you're catching this on the replay. Let me know if you're smashing it or catching this on the replay. But we got to talk about JD Vance. JD Vance was on an interview on ABC with Martha Raddatz, and he completely obliterated her. But before we get into that, let's talk about what they're trying to cover up here.
As a gang of Venezuelan migrants has now evolved into a potent transnational crime force. Tren de Aragua, now linked to more than 100 police investigations across the country, and their influence is growing. News Nation correspondent Jorge Ventura tracking this criminal organization for us. Jorge, what are we learning?
Well, Natasha, some officials have actually described Tren de Aragua as MS-13 on steroids, a reference to the infamous Salvadorian gang. Tren de Aragua is a Venezuelan prison gang, which in large part was seen to be contained in South America, but now has spread its influence to here in the United States and operating in states like New York, Colorado, even Wisconsin, and where you are, Natasha, in Chicago. And according to some reports, have even been given the green light to open fire on American law enforcement.
Another shocking incident that made national headlines, the murder of nursing student Lincoln Riley. Authorities believe the suspects, two brothers identified as Diego and Jose Ibarra, have ties to the Tren de Aragua gang. More recently, two major incidents in Colorado also involving the Tren de Aragua gang in Aurora. Gang members have been linked to violent incidents at several apartment complexes. As you can see, the alleged gang members carrying assault rifles. Local police have responded to numerous cases where residents were victims of armed robberies and home invasions. And in Denver, thieves suspected to be linked to the Tren de Aragua gang pulled off a high-profile jewelry heist, stealing over $100,000 worth of merchandise. In the video, the robbers are seen pulling out guns, pushing open an office door, and pistol whipping two women who fall onto the floor. In El Paso, Texas, authorities uncovered a human smuggling operation where victims were held against their will. The gang is reportedly using these hotels as temporary holding centers before moving victims across state lines. But it doesn't stop there. In addition to being spotted in New York, Colorado, and Texas, the gang has expanded to Miami, Chicago, and Wisconsin. U.S. officials fear that the Tren de Aragua gang could destabilize these areas, much like they did in South America, as this organization is notorious for brutal violence, drug trafficking, and extortion. Homeland Security investigation revealed that the Tren de Aragua gang members are young men aged 18 to 25, often wearing high-end streetwear like Chicago Bulls jerseys and Michael Jordan sneakers. They also have distinct tattoos featuring Venezuelan flags or gang symbols, making them easier to spot.
Now, it's not just American law enforcement who are on high alert, so are the Mexican authorities. In the Mexican state of Chihuahua, authorities there have already began inviting experts from South America to go over the tactics of Tren de Aragua. According to Mexican authorities, they also believe that Tren de Aragua is already linked to 3 homicides in the Mexico City area. Natasha.
Yeah, I appreciate you tracking that. Jorge Ventura live for us in San Antonio tonight. Thank you.
Now, it's interesting to me because Donald Trump and JD Vance brought this to the public spectacle in regards on what is actually going on in Aurora. Apartment complexes are being upheld, and these individuals are, basically disrupting the residents of that particular apartment complex, and they're taking it over, and they're even writing fake leases. And JD Vance was on ABC the other day with Martha Raddatz, and here is what went down.
Understand what you're saying, that some people left behind, but he's making these statements that the mayor is flat out disputing.
Well, Martha, you just said the mayor said they were exaggerated.
Grossly exaggerated.
There's got to be some
that means there's got to be some element of truth here. And of course, President Trump was actually in Aurora, Colorado, talking to people on the ground. And what we're hearing, of course, Martha, is that people are terrified by what has happened with some of these Venezuelan gangs.
Senator Vance, I'm going to stop you because I know exactly what happened.
Martha.
I'm going to stop you. The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on, and they have every right to be. And I really find this exchange, Martha, sort of interesting because you seem to be more focused with nitpicking everything that Donald Trump has said rather than acknowledging that apartment complexes in the United States of America are being taken over by violent gangs. I worry so much more about that problem than anything else here. We've got to get American communities in a safe space again. And unfortunately, when you let people in by the millions, most of whom are unvetted, most of whom you don't know who they really are, you're going to have problems like this. Kamala Harris, 94 executive orders that undid Donald Trump's successful border policies. We knew this stuff would happen. They bragged about opening the border, and now we have the consequences, and we're living with it. We can do so much better, but frankly, we're not going to do better, Martha, unless Donald Trump calls this stuff out. I'm glad that he did.
Okay, let's just end that with they did not invade or take over the city, as Donald Trump said. I want to move on to
just a few apartment complexes, no big deal.
A few apartment complexes that the mayor did not seem was invading the entire city. Let's move on to women and abortion.
It's crazy to me that you know, they're downplaying the fact that, oh, it's just a few apartment complexes. It's just a few apartment complexes that Venezuelan gangs have taken over, which is crazy to me. You know, and JD Vance even talks about this and says, oh, it's only a few apartment complexes that have gotten taken over. At the end of the day, it shouldn't be any apartment complexes taken over by Venezuelan gangs. Let me know if you guys agree with that or not, but at least that's my personal opinion. I don't think any Venezuelan gang should be taking over any Aurora apartment complex. And JD Vance has been on a media torching spree this entire week and has been just really combating the fake news media. Here is another clip regarding the migrant crisis.
The police arrested more than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The arrests were during a raid this weekend at the Palacia Apartments off Sahara Drive on the north side. News 4 San Antonio's Jay Avila has been following this story for months, reporting the gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
Yeah, he spoke with the property owner to get his reaction on the months-long investigation, and Marisa Mendoza talked with Catholic Charities, an entity assisting migrants with their stay at the complex.
But first we start with Jay. Jay, what did the manager tell you?
Well, Jonathan and Mandy, it is a massive apartment complex near the airport with 678 units. The owner tells me gang members were breaking into vacant units and renting them to immigrants from the city's Migrant Resource Center, even writing up phony leases. Barker didn't know at the time SAPD and other agencies had started investigating members of the Venezuelan gang called Tren de Aragua, which eventually resulted in Saturday's early morning raid.
We're very thankful, and we have so much gratitude to what the SAPD's done.
Barker says he's learned more about how gang members were targeting immigrants at the Migrant Resource Center and luring them to his sprawling complex.
They were meeting them at the migration station saying, we can house you, you can pay us, here's a formal lease. And so that's exactly what was happening, is that they were basically setting up an enterprise of leasing out these vacant units.
Barker says as crime and vandalism increased, more of his long-term residents moved out, creating more vacant units, with intruders eventually breaking into about 250 of them. Barker says he was struck by the similarity to allegations of Tren de Aragua members taking over apartments in Aurora, Colorado.
The media continues to downplay this, and it is bananas to me. it is crazy to me to think, at the end of the day, these illegal migrants are coming in and taking over these apartment complexes. Earlier this week, JD Vance was on an interview with the New York Times, and the individual interviewing him, I'm not sure her name, but asked about the economic policies that Trump and Vance are proposing.
The reason that there is a housing crisis is that not enough houses have been built.
And that we have 25 million people who shouldn't be here.
Well, I mean, this is the thing.
I think it's both.
I know you do. I don't think that many people who look into this agree with you, but about a third of the construction workforce in this country is Hispanic. Of those, a large proportion are undocumented. So how do you propose to build all the housing necessary that we need in this country by removing all the people who are working in construction?
Well, I think it's a fair question, because we know that back in the 1960s, when we had very low levels of illegal immigration, Americans didn't buy houses, didn't build houses, but of course they did. And I'm being sarcastic, of course, in service of a point, Lulu. The assumption that because a large number of home builders now are using undocumented labor, that's the only way to build homes, I think, again,
the country is much bigger. The need is much bigger. I mean, I'm not arguing in favor of illegal immigration. I'm asking how you would deal with the knock-on effect of your proposal to remove millions of people who work in a critical part of the economy.
Well, I think that what you would do is you would take, let's say, for example, the 7 million prime age men who have dropped out of the labor force, and you have a smaller number of women, but still millions of women prime age who have dropped out of the labor force. You absolutely could re-engage folks into the American labor market. This is, I think,
to work in construction.
Of course, you could.
Yeah.
I mean, the unemployment rate is 4.1%. Most people
unemployment rate, Lulu, this is important.
But most people who don't work can't work in the regular economy. They're in the military. Their parents. They're sick. They're old. They might not want to work in construction.
The unemployment rate does not count labor force participation dropouts. And again, this is one of the really deranged things that I think illegal immigration does to our society, is it gets us in a mindset of saying we can only build houses with illegal immigrants when we have 7 million, just men, not even women, just men who have completely dropped out of the labor force. People say, well, Americans won't do those jobs. Americans won't do those jobs for below the table wages. They won't do those jobs for non-living wages. But people will do those jobs. They will just do those jobs at certain wages. And think about this from the perspective of an American company, okay? I want them to go searching in their own country for their own citizens. Sometimes people who may be struggling with addiction or trauma, get them re-engaged in American society. We cannot have an entire American business community that is giving up on American workers and then importing millions of illegal laborers. That is what we have thanks to Kamala Harris's border policies. I think it's one of the biggest drivers of inequality. It's one of the biggest reasons why we have millions of people who have dropped out of the labor force. Why try to re-engage an American citizen in a good job if you can just import somebody from Central America who's going to work under the table for poverty wages? It is a disgrace, and it has led to the evisceration of the American middle class.
Yeah, I shout out to everybody that just joined. What's up, Salty? Yeah, I agree with JD Vance here. The re-engagement of the individuals that have been pushed out of the market because of the illegal migrant crisis, individuals that have taken over particular jobs like construction jobs. There are a lot of American people that would love to have construction jobs, and a lot of people would like to have American workers work on things, or legal migrants work on things. And JD Vance is spot on with this regarding building new homes in America, getting those individuals that have been pushed out of the market re-engaged back into the market. Yeah, JD Vance is absolutely savage. And to answer your question, yeah, I did actually see that interview with Hermet. I actually posted a video on that a couple days ago, so I'm glad that you watched that on Tucker's channel. It is a fantastic interview. The other thing that Lulu, her name's Lulu, I guess I just found that out right now, but her name's Lulu. She had asked JD Vance about the 2020 election. JD Vance has been on, he's anytime he gets in front of the media, I think that's why he had such a good showing at the VP debate. because he's been in practice with individuals, just getting those at bats. JD Vance for 2028. And hold on. Yeah, Salty, I think there is something going on with YouTube currently at the moment. I don't know what type of issues are going on, but I do see I see something going on with YouTube. I don't know what type of situation they're trying to pull here, but I do see something going on. Let's jump into this video with JD and Lulu asked about the 2020 election.
Asked to clarify if you believe Trump lost the 2020 election. Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here with focusing on 2020. I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020, which is a wide open border, groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator,
Lulu,
yes or no?
okay.
Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent?
This is exactly what we're talking about. We're going to get back into this video, but Gina's saying that no notifications for this video went out. I do see something going on. Jason says there's some shadow ban going on, and I've seen it on other channels as well. I don't know what is going on with the YouTubes, but I think honestly they don't like this information because the left and the Democrats are losing, and JD Vance is just about to talk about the censorship, which I'll get into here. But Mark Zuckerberg openly came out and said that the Hunter Biden laptop story was suppressed in 2020, and I don't know. I'm lost for words, because if the freedom of speech gets shut down, it's over.
Ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent analysis have said it cost Donald Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
Senator
I think that's
Vance,
the question.
I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020
And I've answered
election?
your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know. There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying, which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government, in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020. I'm not worried about this slogan that people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something very discrete. A problem of censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020, and more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's governance, which has screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I would have voted against certification because of the concern that I just raised. I think that when you have technology companies—
The answer is no.
When you have technology companies censoring Americans at a mass scale in a way that, again, independent studies have suggested affect the vote, I think that it's right to protest against that, to criticize that, and that's a totally reasonable thing.
So the answer is no. And the last question, will you support the election results this time and commit to a peaceful transfer of power?
Well, first of all, of course, we commit to a peaceful transfer of power. We are going to have a peaceful transfer of power. I, of course, believe that peaceful transfer of power is going to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States. But if there are problems, of course, in the same way that Democrats protested in 2004 and Donald Trump raised issues in 2020, we're going to make sure that this election counts, that every legal ballot is counted. We've filed almost 100 lawsuits at the RNC to try to ensure that every legal ballot has counted. I think you would maybe criticize that. We see that as an important effort to ensure election integrity, but certainly we're going to respect the results in 2024, and I feel very confident they're going to make Donald Trump the next president.
This is exactly what we're talking about in the chat. This is exactly what we're talking about in the chat. Yeah, Jason, I have noticed multiple channels are being blocked due to the support of Donald Trump and JD Vance. And yeah, it is kind of funky monkey what's going on now. I don't have Rumble yet, Salty. Well, I do have a Rumble account. But I think some things are going to go on there as well. So let's jump into, what is this one? Oh, this one was super awesome. This was JD Vance. Since JD Vance has been on this spree, he decided to hop on the phones and talk to some ticket voters. And I thought this was just a cool video. We saw a video like this with Kamala Harris and Tim Walsh. Probably censored me because I'm saying Kamala Harris, huh? Maybe I should switch it to Kamala's. But we saw a video of Harris and Walsh, fictitiously dialing ticketers on the phone or voters on the phone. But this is JD Vance actually talking to a person.
Who am I speaking to? Hey, Vicky. My name is JD Vance. I'm running for vice president along with my running mate, Donald Trump, and I wanted to call you and encourage you to vote for us. It is really him. I promise. As far as I know. Yeah, so I either I'm the best sound alike in the world or it's really me. So I guess. So Vicky, I have to ask: have you voted yet, or are you planning on voting? Okay. Okay. Well, I hope you. Okay. Well, that's very good to hear, Vicky. We're thrilled to have your support and thrilled to have you vote. We got another one, folks.
Oh man, that's freaking awesome. Oh, shout out to Jason. Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate you. Being banned me. Yeah, thank you so much, Jason. Really appreciate you guys. And let's see. We got one more here. Oh, this was an awesome promo from JD Vance.
Record. Look at rising take-home pay, a secure southern border, the fact that inflation was low, and ask yourself, does the media lie to you about Donald Trump because they care about you, or do they lie about Donald Trump because they're terrified that he's a bigger threat to their power than anything that's happened in this country's politics in a very long time? I truly believe that I've gotten to know the man, of course, very well personally, so it's a little bit easier for me to say it, but I really believe that he wakes up wanting to make the country more prosperous and wanting to make the world a more peaceful place. That's who you want as president of the United States, is somebody who sacrifices to lead the country, not somebody who's enriched by their leadership of this country. And Donald Trump, he can sacrifice more for the United States of America than any president, at least in my lifetime. It speaks very highly of him, but more importantly, it says what kind of a president he is going to be if the American people entrust him with the presidency again. I'd encourage him to do it. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to say you were wrong about him in 2016 or 2020. I did it in my mind, and I'd encourage Americans to do that because he's actually got the plan to make this country better off.
Fantastic promo by JD Vance. That was during an interview and somebody added music on the background. But yeah, this, what JD was talking about earlier on with the censorship, I don't know what's going on. I don't want to be I got to be careful because I'm on the YouTubes. Yeah, actually, Salty, that is correct. Same name on that platform as well. I believe it's in the description link down below. But yeah, JD Vance has been on an epic media torching spree as of late. I just wanted to hop on and share this with you guys because that ABC interview with him and Martha Radich was fantastic, where he clearly debunks any myths of, this was the part right here,
The problem and not Kamala Harris.
Concerned. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in
only a handful of apartment complexes have been taken over by Venezuelan gangs. Only a handful, guys. Only a handful. Yeah. It's like, what? None. No apartment complexes should be taken over by Venezuelan gangs. What's up, Michelle? Oh, man. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to jump on and share that with you. I'm going to be back later today. I don't know if you guys heard, but there was a supposed third assassination attempt. But the information is kind of a little skewed. So I've been a little apprehensive to try to get this out there because it's not 100% yet. And it's really unclear to me to present that to you guys. But I don't know. What do you guys think about, if you guys have heard anything about that situation at Coachella? The guy had fake VIP passes, and then he had some, yes, smash the like button. He had some fake VIP passes, and then he had an unregistered shotgun and some handguns in his vehicle. But I was on the gentleman's Facebook page and Instagram page, and it looks like, I don't know. He's a registered Republican and he's taking photos with a bunch of other people. I got to dig into the story a little bit more. And then there's another story that's coming out. All I'm going to say is Touchdown Tim. So we'll see how much censorship gets involved with all of this. We're in for the ride, guys. We are in for the ride. Salty, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Yeah, Jason. Yep. If you guys haven't read the story yet, this is what it is here. It's I don't know. If that comes out and Tampon Tim, if it's seemingly, presumably to be true. There's some reports, some emails, and it is seemingly to be true. So I'm looking forward to delivering that information to you guys. Yep. This will for sure tank them even more. Well, cool, guys. I'm going to jump on out of here. Mods, everybody commenting. I truly, truly appreciate each and every single one of you. I really, really do. Thank you guys so much for watching. Drop your comments down below. Smash the like button. And guys, I'll catch you on the next one. I'll catch you later on today. We'll chat soon.